when I tell stories, I think I elaborate quite a bit in it. And one of the one of the core components of it is providing enough or just the minimal amount of context to create tension in the audience. And so when you think of tension, they're kind of on the edge of the seat of like, where's he going to go with this, right? And then in comedy, your punchline releases that tension.
Welcome to the Attraction Pros podcast, where we discuss the latest trends and challenges facing the attractions industry today.
We chat with some of the top leaders in the field and provide resources that will help develop your career in this great industry.
I am Josh Liebman. I am obsessed with the guest experience and helping attractions make that their top priority for success.
And I'm Matt Heller. I am passionate about organizational effectiveness, leadership development, and employee engagement.
Now sit upright, hold on tight, and get ready for the Attraction Pros podcast.
Hey, Matt, how's it going?
It's going fantastically, Josh. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for asking.
Awesome.
So at the time of this episode's release, we're about halfway through 2024. And one of the things that we have done every single January since this podcast began, so the first one was in 2018, just a few months after we started, we published our annual Resolutionary episode. We have yet to miss a year on that. So we've done 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. We've done 7 Resolutionary episodes.
Wow.
Wow. We've had this podcast going for that long, haven't we?
It seems like a blink of an eye.
It did. But what I think could be really interesting is since this episode is airing exactly 6 months to the day after the 2024 Resolutionary episode, I think it'd be worthwhile maybe just to catch up with each other and go back to that episode, which was episode 330, which aired on January 2nd. Talk about what those resolutions were that you and I set, some goals for 2024, and see where we're at with them.
I think that's a fantastic idea, not only because it's good to revisit those goals that you have, but also kind of holds us accountable because we said we were going to do it, and let's see if we did, or at least if we're on the path.
Yes. And, in that episode summary, we even talked all about accountability and actually of course, in the episode itself, but I'm just looking at the summary as a reference point. So, Matt, do you want to share what your resolutions were? Or maybe we can go back and forth. You do the first, and then we'll get to. We each set 3 resolutions for 2024.
Absolutely. So the first one was about POC University and getting more help with that, and really expanding the influence of that particular program. And I'm happy to say that I am well on my way to making improvements to that. I've actually started a new website for it. I created a Zoom meeting for people that are already in the program, a special one that was in addition to all of our coaching calls, and I called it the POC University Beautification Committee. I said, whoever is available to come in, I just wanted to gather feedback and find out what we could do better. And one of the big things I wanted to do was to improve the user experience and the user interface. And so I've taken it from a cobbled together website, membership site, and I've actually taken it over to Patreon. And so I'm building it now in Patreon, and I'm getting the current members over to that. I've also taken a lot of the feedback that they've given me in terms of how the program goes and making a lot of improvements that way. So I would say, yes, this one it's not been achieved yet, but it's in the works, and I'm super happy to say that a lot of progress has been made.
I was going to say, it sounds like an awesome progress update that it sounds like even though it's not fully achieved, it seems like it's kind of like an ongoing task that can continue to just be part of your business model, and that you're very much taking that on and implementing it.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%.
Cool.
What was your first one?
All right. So my first one was that I wanted to focus more on building partnerships and sustaining guest experience initiatives. So I have very much built my consulting business on training workshops where I either drive or fly to the client, deliver the workshops, fly home, and that's usually the end of the engagement. And I've wanted to look at ways that I can continue to support attractions in various ways, and that the workshop is not just a one-time event, but these ongoing processes that we can talk about. We can say, all right, within the training workshops, we covered a lot, and 3 hours seems like it's a lot of time, but by the time you get to the end of 3 hours, you're like, oh man, I feel like we can keep talking. In fact, one of the biggest pieces of feedback that I get from when I send out surveys and ask people, what would you enjoy about it, and what would you have enjoyed even more, is a lot of times people will say, I wish we had more time to dive even deeper into a lot of the issues that we might be having from a guest service standpoint, from a complaint standpoint. And so I don't want it to just end at being a 3 hour training session. So I have put together a partnership program that I'm working with multiple attractions on. Some of them are single locations, some of them are multi-unit locations. So some of them are in kind of destination locations, some of them serve more local markets. So it's cool to see the variety of it. And that's been the large focus of a lot of the conversations that I've had throughout the beginning of this year, and even dating back to really IAPA last year in 2023. With that said, it was a very busy, I would say, first half of the year from a training workshop travel standpoint. So it's definitely I'm definitely doing both. So at the time of this recording, I'm still offering both of those, just the single training and the partnership. But I want to focus more and more on doing more and more partnerships, and that's where a lot of my focus has been.
That's awesome. And, I think there's a through line in both of those things that we aspired to in these first resolutions, and that is it's a long-term strategy, right?
Mhm.
You're taking a long-term strategy for the clients that you're working with, the partners that you're working with, and certainly taking a long-term strategy for POC University to take that to the next level. So nothing is an overnight success.
Right, exactly. All right, what's your number two?
Speaking of something that's not an overnight success, my health. Many people know that I had I'll call it an episode, and I had surgery last year in October. I had a quadruple bypass surgery, and my goal was to really improve my health and pay more attention to it. So, I'm exercising a lot more. I'm watching what I eat. I have really cut down on salt and red meat and eating a lot more vegetables and things that are high in protein. And I actually wore this shirt, if you're watching on video, for a specific reason, because I've lost a bunch of weight. And this shirt last year would have been completely filled out. Now you can see how the shoulders are a little lower, and my neck looks a little smaller in it because I have lost weight. So this shirt again would have fit more properly last year. Now it's a little bit big on me, but that is also because I've been exercising more and watching my food and my health and things like that. So that is definitely on track as a resolution for this year.
Nice. Congratulations. That's
Thank
that's
you.
awesome to hear. I love hearing that progress update. And you've ridden a roller coaster.
I have. Yes, I have.
I know that was not part of that particular resolution, but I think it all ties in with it.
It absolutely does, because that's been my biggest question, for my surgeon, my cardiologist, my physical therapist, anybody who will listen to the question is, can I ride roller coasters after having quadruple bypass surgery? And pretty much everybody has said yes. The cardiologist was a little more cautious, but basically, if it's healed and it's feeling good, the big thing that they said was listen to your body. So if things are feeling a little wonky, don't do it.
Got it. That's
That's
smart.
how that's how I've been operating. So how about you? What's your second one?
All right, my second one had to do with my public speaking skills. So, speaking of training workshops, but also speaking at conferences, I've always been looking for ways to continually enhance my public speaking. A lot of it so far has very much been trial by fire, taking a lot of notes of just along the way, kind of learning from myself and being able to continually improve it. And I've made a ton of progress that way, but I wanted to, I would say, inject a little more energy in that. But instead of just taking traditional public speaking classes or joining Toastmasters, I want to do it from a little bit of a different angle, because one of the things that I have always found is that whenever I am speaking, whether it's a session at a conference or whether it's a training workshop or in any way, the audience feels more engaged when they are entertained. So if I can look at my sessions and the content that I'm delivering from that standpoint, then I feel like it would be very successful. So my goal was to enroll in stand-up comedy classes at Second City. And as of this recording, I just completed it almost a week ago, and then included my the student showcase that I performed a 5-minute set at.
Awesome. Awesome. So how did that 5-minute set go?
It went really well, but let me tell you, I was nervous, and I know I was talking to you like just a few hours before it or so. You were asking me about it, and I said it is easier for me to deliver a 3-hour workshop than a 5-minute set, right? You know, if it's 3 hours, I can say, all right, hey everybody, I'm Josh. Let's get started. This is the what it'll be about, this and that. Okay, let's get into the content. All right, first 5 minutes. Every second counts, especially. And one of the things that I learned on my first class is that comedy is in the business of time, and what you are seeking is laughs per minute. So every single minute of that 5 minutes and every single second of that is when's the next laugh within that. So I wanted to make sure I put as much of that in there as possible, and was able to really kind of hit all the beats. So it felt like there was a rhythm to it that I had to make sure I was following. And even earlier that day, I was just walking around my neighborhood and just kind of going through it and saying, okay, I can clean it up. I can use fewer words in this sentence, which is something that I've never been great at as far as word economy and trying to make things more concise. So it's been, if nothing else, a very good exercise in that. And the showcase went very well. So I got a lot of good laughs from it.
Awesome. Awesome. So since this was intended to help your public speaking, what's one thing you're taking away from the stand-up comedy that you can apply directly to your public speaking?
Yeah, we did a whole session on storytelling, and I find that when I tell stories, I think I elaborate quite a bit in it. And one of the core components of it is providing enough or just the minimal amount of context to create tension in the audience. And so when you think of tension, they're kind of on the edge of the seat of like, where's he going to go with this, right? And then in comedy, your punchline releases that tension, right? So how does that fit in with the storytelling framework? I even workshop some of the stories that I tell in my workshop with the class, as far as how can I take this and reconfigure it in ways that fits this storytelling framework from a standpoint of comedy.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, you said that your set was recorded, so I hope to see that someday.
I'm still waiting to get it. So I hope by the time this airs, which I'm very confident it will, I reached out earlier this afternoon to the individual who recorded it on his phone, and he said, yes, I'll get it out today. So I hope to have that out very shortly.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. What is your number 3?
My number 3 had to do with my number 2, which was to continue telling my story to help other people. I didn't necessarily want to be defined as a heart attack survivor or a surgery survivor and that kind of thing. But what I learned through the process, I think can help other people, and it has. And I think just being cognizant of the story and maybe some lessons that I've taken from it has helped me, like in my coaching and in my training. And there's just times when little things pop up that I can kind of tag into. And honestly, it's the same as any other experience that I've had in my life. In fact, earlier I was having a conversation with a coaching group, and there was an experience that I had many years ago that just kind of popped into my head. And I said, oh, this is a good story to share with them because it relates to everything that they're talking about and may, reiterate some of the points that we're trying to make. So the situation that I went through with my surgery is now exactly like that. I don't feel like I'm a huge advocate for heart health. I'm not, you know what I mean? Not that that's bad, but I just feel like this is the best way I can use that story to help other people.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Very
Yeah.
nice. Glad to see that you're implementing that in the way that resonates best with you and the way that you want to identify with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. What's number 3 for you?
All right. Number 3 has to do with in-person events. So last year, you and I hosted an event for episode 300, where we had a substantial turnout. We did it with pretty short notice where we threw up a page on Eventbrite and rented some space on a patio at Main Event in Orlando, and it was really cool just to see all the people that showed up. Later on in the year, right before IAPA Expo, I held a book launch event, and that was also successful. That was also thrown up very, very last minute as well. So within a very short period of time, but it was impressive to see not only the amount of people that came, but the way that people were interacting with each other. And there were, some comments of saying, "Oh, this was done right before the expo, so it was the first time seeing, a lot of people. It was early on in the week. We weren't fatigued, from it, and there was just high energy for it. So I wanted to continue that in 2024, and not to say that there's been no progress on it, because that's not the case, but you and I have been having a lot of conversations as far as what events can we do with Attraction Pros. So just to put out a couple of teasers here, and in the interest of keeping us accountable, is we want to hold a meetup before IAPA Expo. So ideally on that Sunday night, just as people are getting into town, and have it be a very casual. We don't have to call it a networking event. You don't have to dress up for it. It's just come say hi and just enjoy the social experience of being with your industry colleagues. That is 100% the purpose of it. But then you and I have also been in talks now for several months about hosting a specific multi-day Attraction Pros event. So that is something that you and I are in the works. Again, this is a teaser that hopefully our audience can hold us accountable to, and we can make this happen sometime in early 2025, probably sometime in Q1 or kind of spring, definitely before the peak summer season hits, where we want to hold an Attraction Pros Leadership Conference.
And to just give some context around where we are with that, again, this is the through line is a lot of these things are long term, right?
Yes.
And so it takes a long time for anybody who's put on an event. It takes a long time to plan, to figure out what you want to do, how you're going to put it on the best way. And so I don't think it's inappropriate to say that we have been doing that. We've been having the talks. We've been talking to different people about different venues. In fact, at the time of this recording, next week, we're going to have a call with someone about a potential venue. Don't want to give that away yet, but we just to let people know that this is not just something that we're talking about. Again, holding ourselves accountable because we have certain things in motion. The hardest thing sometimes to do is to tell other people your plans, because then you have to do it. There's a lot of plans up here in my head that have never seen the light of day, but it seems like as soon as you tell other people, then that's where the momentum starts. So it's in the works, and we are super excited about it. Could not be more thrilled to be able to bring something to the Attraction Pros audience that brings the audience together. That's what we're really excited about.
Yes, absolutely. Cool. So those are our 3 resolutions each that we set at the beginning of this year. That's our progress update. We also set 4 resolutions that we turned over to the industry. So we want to hear from all of you on how well you are holding to these that we gave back to you in January. The first being to take care of your people. The second is to make exceeding expectations part of the standard operating procedure. The third is about not avoiding conflict, about embracing conflict. And the last one is about eliminating the phrase, "let me get my manager." So we want to hear from you on what your goals are for 2024, where you're at with them. And if you have any updates on the 4 that we gave to you back in January, we want to hear them.
Absolutely. So you can reach out to us on any of the socials. You can call, or you can email us at attractionpros@gmail.com. You can call us, of course. You can't call us at the email address. That would be weird. But please reach out. Let us know how you're doing. Let us know what your questions might be. And until next time, just remember, we are all Attraction Pros. Thanks for listening to the Attraction Pros podcast.
Make sure to subscribe so you can tune in when new episodes release, and even better, please leave us a review on iTunes.
For more information, visit attractionpros.com.